I'm sitting there watching this trailer, and it's another, brown thing, right? After watching Velma, and then just the stark difference between the two.
Oh yeah,
It's like this is so real, like it feels
yeah.
genuine. It's coming from here. Um, but anyways, but I thought it looked great, and then all of a sudden I see director Nita Manzoor. I'm like, what? I just said that immediately to my sister. I was like, "What is this?" She goes, "You didn't know I direct?" I was like, "That's crazy,"
Yes,
and it looks
it's
really good.
it's very cute. Okay, let's get this party started. Can you hear the TV in the background?
No,
Great, great. Okay. Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is my skinny rich friend.
it's Mozz.
Welcome, Mozz. Welcome as we talk about something that just dropped today. I'm very excited. It's apparently at Sundance, getting all the raves. Polite Society. Ria Khan believes that she must save her older sister Lena from her impending marriage. After enlisting her friend's help, she attempts to pull off the most ambitious of all wedding heists in the name of independence and sisterhood. Our
Mm.
director is Nita Manzoor, no relation. Um, our
Nita,
writer is
Nita Manzoor.
Nita, as also the writer on this. Our stars include Rita Arya, Ila Brucaleri, and Shobhu Kapoor. Let's see here. Yeah, Anita Manzoor is just the hardest working person in show business on this. Three credits: director, writer, and just another writer credit, just because she wrote so much.
Oh, so this is like her show. This is her whole.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
guessing so. Well, she's like you and me, Maz. She is a
ah,
indie filmmaker who has made good, and I endorse this. This looks exciting. It is, at least from the trailer, and that's the thing. And this is actually one of those things, um, that feeds into magical realism, but also opens up the possibility that what we see in the trailer has nothing to do with what's going to be in the film, which is a real possibility when you think about it, because someone said, I really like this. I just wish they didn't give so much away in the trailer. And my first impetus on that is, it's a fair criticism. Don't give away so much in the trailer, just like people said for the Ant-Man trailer.
hmm.
But I think there is an argument to the point that the real treasure was the journey.
Yeah, I think for certain films, for example, I just saw the movie Plane the other day, the new Gerard Butler movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it is formulaic as all get out. But it's so good. Like you just enjoy the quippy banter between the characters. The relationships between the characters feels real, and you enjoy when they say or do things to each other. In that little area is where the charm of that film was, even though it like followed every rule about what makes a good action movie to the T, and you could predict where everything was going to happen, but you still cared that it was about to happen. So I think with
Which
this movie too, when you watch the trailer, the relationships between the characters seem really interesting. You see snippets of it, but immediately you're like, "Oh, I wonder what happened in that scene. I wonder what happened in that scene." They made you care. And again, maybe they're just really good trailer editors, right?
yeah,
Justice League looked like it was going to be incredible when the trailer first dropped. So maybe
yeah,
they're just really good editors. But I feel like the real heart and the joy of this movie is going to be taking the ride, like I said, along with these little kids. It reminded me
exactly.
of there was an old movie called Detroit Rock City
Oh
about
yeah,
these kids who won Kiss tickets and then they lose the tickets and they have to, or like Harold and Kumar. It reminds me of those kind of movies,
yeah,
based on just good friendships, good relationships, and a silly, silly journey.
yes, and I like that, and I do wonder how much of this is going to be her fantasy, like how much of the
Ooh.
wedding heist we've seen is actually just her fantasy of how it goes, and how much is going to be in the reality. And is there going to be that stark contrast between her imagining herself as this, South Asian woman stunt person, and this adventurous life she imagines, and the difficulties involved in becoming that person, and the fear that this marriage is going to, ruin her relationship with her sister.
Yeah.
Is she not going to want to come out with her to videotape her falling on her butt anymore?
Yeah, like you get that one scene where you get the Bond villain scene when, well, what now, Mr. Bond? And as the
Yes.
laser is coming down, but she's just like, taking hair off of her leg. So it's like cute, like
And I gotta say, I do love our evil auntie from Miss Marvel Returns to be the evil mother-in-law here. And
I get the feeling we're gonna see her in this kind of role for a while, which is great.
I think I'm hoping she enjoys it. She seems to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like Vincent Price would say. It's like, yeah, I can do a lot of other things, but it's a lot of fun to just be the evil person, in the corner, and just
yeah.
It's fun to do it. It's fun to scare the little kids, because and quite frankly, if your rent's paid, yeah, why not do that?
Yeah. No, scaring kids is a lot of fun. I dress up like Pennywise on Halloween's and sit on my porch still as night until somebody gets too close. And then I just turn my head slowly and go, we all float down here, Georgie. And people lose their mind. And it's the best thing in the world.
It is. I appreciate your commitment to the bit. I don't think I could sit that still that long.
It's like fishing, or hunting.
No, I understand the premise. I'm just, I'm a constant. I need that constant gratification.
Yeah.
That's just me. It's clearly I am not a person that waits. It's like, it's cooked enough. Eat the food. That's why I like my food rare. But no, this looks like a lot of fun, and I'm excited for it. I just, like I said, it's just a random thing. Hey, algorithm, way to go! You said, you know what? This is going to be a good connection, a super connection for this show, because we got Manzor,
man, oh man,
and somehow they knew that the show was about to drop. They said, you know what? Get this in Charlie's feed. Just get it there now.
I'm surprised it wasn't in my feed.
I'm surprised too, but you know what? Maybe you don't talk enough about podcasting. I don't know, outside of your daily life,
Yeah, I pretty much don't talk about anything on social media. So yeah,
exactly. See,
I'm a lurker. I watch, but I don't share.
Yeah, see me, I'm always sharing. I'm an oversharer, because you know what? I figure if the Illuminati is coming for me, I might as well make it easy. It's
not the Illuminati that has ruined the fun for me.
Well, I don't know who's ruining any fun. It's like that's the thing for me. I'll be honest with you about algorithms. So much of my feed is literally just old TV shows and Star Trek memes and things like that, because that's what I like. That's what I interact with. I like to go, hey, you look cool in that Starfleet universe, man.
No, the algorithm, again, is not my issue. The algorithm's fine. The algorithm works just great. It's people.
Yeah.
That are my problem.
Well, like I say, and I guess, I have a tendency to only go to boards where they moderate, like if you're a jerk, they kick you off.
Right.
And I think that's helpful. It's like, if you're not looking to engage with it, it's that you stop being engaged with it, and then suddenly everyone's nice. That's a nice thing. But I did really enjoy that. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
Yeah, it looks really good. There's not much to go on. It's just a trailer, and we don't have the backstory about these people yet.
I don't need more. I was sold by the little girl's face when she goes, let's get. I was like, I'm there with you. Let's go. That's what sold me.
Yeah, and that is a good selling point, and that shows you how a good actor helps the story. You know, you need good actors to sell an outlandish plot. Speaking of which, we also got the dropping of the Mandalorian trailer not too long ago,
Oh
last week.
my, oh my.
Mandalorian 3. You know what I like about this? They're continuing, and Jindarin is going back to Mandalore. He's gonna bathe in those dang. Doesn't care that it's that the river of Mandalore has dried up due to the, carpet bombing. Doesn't care that the Great Dome of Mandalore is gone. He's like, no, my job is this is what I was told I have to do to reclaim my honor, and so it'll be there.
Hey, at least there is a way back.
Exactly. I will leap and the net will appear. And to be fair, that's a good strategy to have in Star Wars somehow. Like, it does seem to play out.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
know.
those are the stories we do hear about, right? We
Yeah.
don't hear about the ones who leap and just go kerplat,
Oh yeah, well, it's like an Andor. The people that
No.
didn't make it. We
Yeah,
saw the
not much
people
story
that
to
made
tell, right?
it. Yeah, and actually, as it turns out, the other guy in
But on the
other
flip
guy,
side too,
yeah,
unless you jump, you're never part of the story either.
exactly. But the other guy that he's there with at the end of Andor, he actually is also in Rogue One. So they're both in that apparently.
Ah, okay.
So it was the same actor. Apparently, that's what I was told. So I still haven't seen Rogue One, which is it's funny to me because I know the premise, and I know the plot, and I know all the characters now, and I've seen like parts of it. But man, it's like I'm getting to the point in my life where I can't watch a 2-hour movie, honestly. At least not at home. I can in the theater, but when I'm home, like at most I'm going to watch the 2-hour movie and then I'll fall asleep. Or I'm going to watch, part of the 2-hour movie and then I'm going to get bored and do other things, going to wash the dishes. And to me, I find that interesting just in how I interact with it. But yeah, I like this. I like that we see Grogu turn into the dark side, man.
Well, I mean, is that what's happening?
Well, or Grogu's bringing balance. I don't know which.
I mean, he's just defending himself, right? Like,
yeah,
at a certain point, you gotta remove the moral implications of, say, hey, man, I'm defending myself. We'll talk about morality later. Right now, this dude showed up with his claws and stuff with like the superhero pose. Hey, man, I can't take any chances. I'm just gonna put you over. That's all he was doing. If we're big, all we saw him do was pick a dude up and just move him. He didn't do anything bad to it yet, right?
That we know of. Yeah.
Okay. He's defending his house, man.
Yeah.
Defending his cave.
Although I did hear an interesting theory on this that actually the Mandalorian that we're following in this is not supposed to be Jindarin. That Grogu is the Mandalorian.
That's
Grogu.
so cool.
Grogu is going to be the force wielding Mandalorian who returns to Mandalore to rule in time and guide the Mandalorians in a new way.
Maybe the only thing that survived on Mandalore were those little frogs that Grogu loves so much.
There you go, man. Who knows what survived on Mandalore? Although I will say this, it does seem that as hard as life gets on these planets, species survive and species even thrive. You look at a place like Tatooine that similarly had a complete aerial bombardment, completely destroyed what was Tatooine, and that wasn't even the Republic. I think that was like the first, or that wasn't even the Empire. I think that was like, the First Republic or something. That was an early day of some trade war or another, and yet, the Jawas survived, the Sand People survived, or the Tuscans survived, and they all learned to survive in this drastically destroyed ecosystem because they find that the water is still there. And I think that's what we're going to see in Mandalore, is that the waters of Mandalore still flow. You just have to learn where the water flows. And maybe that is where Grogu is going to be helpful, because Grogu will feel the Force, feel the flow of the Force through all living things. And
I wonder if you'll find giant sandworms underneath the desert that hold all the water. When you
maybe.
kill it.
And then Grogu will just go sleep, as he does, and then they'll cut open the sandworms and drink all the water.
That's funny.
Yay!
What else was it? Did you catch anything else that seemed to tell us what's going to be in the season?
Well, we see that he's reuniting with the other rogue Mandalorians.
Well, yeah, what was her name? The one with the red hair?
Yeah, it's played by the same actress who did her voice in the cartoon,
right.
Kaylee Sackhoff.
Yes.
And I'm blanking on her name now, but I'm glad she's back.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact that it seems that she is joining up with Jindarin. That
Right. He seems like he's got his own posse now.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to recognize his right to rule, because he has, and it's interesting.
Oh, right, because yeah, of course, but
especially
she's
compared to
time.
Well, yeah, of course she has to, but that's the thing. And I do think it's interesting, the difference between the way his people, the armorers, see it. Because the armorer's like, yeah, you have the right to rule Mandalore, but you can't actually even control the dang Darksaber. It throws you, but you're not ready yet,
Right.
And he has to go on his own hero's journey.
So now, do you have to defeat the person while he uses the Darksaber, or you just have to defeat the person and you get it? He could just have it lying there and he defeats you with his own devices.
I mean, not being a Mandalorian myself, and understanding that the Mandalorians are a very complex and differentiated people. Because it should be noted that what's her name didn't win when she first ruled Mandalore. When Kaylee Sackhoff first ruled Mandalore, she actually was given the Darksaber because she was the one who was most fit to rule.
Oh,
by the person who wielded it. And that's probably why she's refusing it here, because she knows that doesn't work,
Right. And he verbally, at least out to the universe, said, I think you should rule.
Well, yes, but
how different is it than how she got it?
Well, but the thing is that the first time she got it, it failed miserably. So because she got that back during the
one can
Clone
make
Wars.
the argument that we strayed from the way and we shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's sort of like not to get controversial, but there are certain groups of Orthodox Jews who do not recognize the political status of Israel because they feel that it should not have come because of political means. It needed to come because of it needed to come because that is what there should be a Messiah who leads people into Israel and reasserts Israel, not that several European powers make a decision. Yeah, so that that's I don't want to get us canceled here. So, but there are people that have that view, and so when you look at this very diversified group of people, and of course that's the truth in any religion. You will see that in Christianity, and certain people who feel that certain branches of Christianity are not really Christian because they don't embrace this perspective on things. And it always goes back to whatever your group's orthodoxy is. But what's interesting about orthodoxy is that you can be orthodox about anything. And you can be an ultra-Orthodox Hasidim who is very open-minded and celebratory in your orthodoxy. And you can be very dour in your orthodoxy. And it's your choice as to how you're going to approach your orthodoxy. And the same is true of Orthodox Christians, Orthodox Islam, Orthodox atheists. there's a lot of really joyous atheists who are like, nope, nothing exists, and I'm super happy about it. And then there are people whose atheism just says, no, the fact that you think anything exists is an affront to me, and it bothers me as a comedian.
Right.
It
And then there's some
me.
people that are just like, hey man, just don't talk to me about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, that's just the way to be in life. Is just don't. Okay, I'm glad that makes you happy.
Yeah, but
It's not my bailiwick, but I'm glad it makes you happy.
yeah,
Everyone needs something to make them happy, Mozz. That's what I say.
absolutely.
So you did see Velma.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go out on the limb here. I enjoyed it.
I mean, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I was I thought people were mad for some reason. I didn't see anything objectionable.
Yeah.
It was a simple little show. I'll tell you, I expected better from Mindy Kaling. She's a
Yeah.
phenomenal writer. Her work on The Office is absolutely legendary.
Mhm.
And then it makes me wonder how much did BJ Novak had to do with it, and how much did Mindy Kaling? Because you watch BJ Novak's latest entry, that movie Vengeance, and my God, it's so good. The writing in it is just superb. It opens with one of the most whoa, interesting in the monologues that you've ever heard. Just a great piece of writing. And then you get this, which is I mean, I guess maybe it's tailored towards who it's aimed for. It's aimed for people that are in, elementary school or middle school or whatever. I don't know. It feels that way. It's written in that language. Like everything is she,
Well, yeah. I mean, it's very much written for a culture that came of age on Adult Swim,
right.
and it's very much in that vein, and trying to effective. So here is my take on it, and this is my big hot take on Velma. The premise is, or to put it too simply, the reason why everyone is unlikable is because it's the start of the story.
Yeah, yeah.
And if everyone was in their final positions, there wouldn't be a story to tell. This is about how they go from being these unlikable teens raised on Adult Swim.
But I feel like you still have to give it some subtlety to make us like the characters for some reason. You can't make them so unlikable or caricatures of what the zeitgeist hates at the moment that it just becomes okay, I see what you're doing there,
No,
and then
and the zeitgeist is definitely against the show. So it's like
it's so interesting. People on either side will just take something that is not really that objectionable, but gives them the opportunity to grandstand and it's time to roll, gather the troops, So
yeah. I mean, like one of the biggest. I mean, and there's stuff. It's sort of the stuff that's like objectionable to people. So, for example, it is objectionable to a lot of people that in the very that there is a high school girls shower scene.
Oh, that's what people were mad about?
Well, it's one of the many things.
Oh, okay.
And now I don't think anyone who is voicing a character in this is under 30. I don't think anyone who is written or drawn in this is under 30. The fact that the characters are ostensibly teenagers is, granted, not sexual, but I was not turned on sexually by it. I understood that they were making a joke about over sexy teen comedies.
Right, exactly.
And it's like I know that no teens were harmed in the making of this.
And they let you know, this is the first episode. This is as racy as it's gonna get, and you'll never see it again. They sort of make that point too.
And beyond that, like the most sexual content we get is kissing.
Right, and not just that, but there's a lesbian character who's lusting over two other lesbians kissing. So I thought it was a democratizing of that sentiment. I thought
exactly.
it was cool.
It is very much a thing that if you grew up in the 80s, you were very familiar with shower scenes in high schools because that's what we did in our Porky's and our Blue movies. It was, again, 20 and 30-year-olds doing the stuff but because it was marketed to teenage young people who wanted to see naked people, and that's true of every gender and every group. We all like seeing other people naked. It's a very common human trope.
Yeah.
Um, and so within it, it's marketing to us old nostalgia buffs for that Porky's vibe.
Mhm.
And there is overlap with the Scooby Gang vibe in that because they came up at the same time. And now what we do see in this is we do see all of our characters in sort of diametrically opposed positions from where they are in the general Scooby Gang. So in this, Velma is smart, as she always is, although she's not as smart as she could be, but also she is much meaner. And the reason for this is because Velma in the Scooby Gang is the most cinnamon roll of everyone, the most kind, delightful, sweet person in the group. So her evolution will need to take this stake from going from a very dark place to going to a very nice place. And I'm sure we're going to get that as the story progresses.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
guess
it's just
that's my
becoming comfortable in being herself, right?
exactly.
And it's
You
just
know,
like this is who I am, but I'm holding myself back because of guilt of this or guilt of that. So yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
one could make the argument that the Velma character that we had back in the day was the way she was because of those feelings. It's easy to make that leap.
yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting, and this is what I will always say about, you know, the original cast of the Scooby Gang. They're based off of the characters from The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, one of my favorite shows.
Oh.
Yes, because in that, Maynard is Shaggy, Dobie is Fred, Tuesday Well, Thalia Menninger is Daphne, or just the pretty girl of the week was the Daphne. And then there was another character who was called Zelda Gilroy, who was the Velma character. Now, the actress who played Zelda Gilroy was actually a lesbian, and that
Oh.
actually wound up hurting her career in the long term. But you know, as it was, she was a very sweet, overly kind person who falls in love with Dobie Gillis and sort of gets kind of exploited by Dobie, but also Dobie is such a sweet guy, you don't want to hold it against him in his own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, but she's conniving and manipulative too. In the overall arc of the Zelda Dobie storyline, it actually does kind of have its sweetness and its darkness too. So, and they do wind up together in the TV movie they made many years later. And you do see throughout it that basically, as much as Dobie protests being paired with Zelda, that he actually loves her, which is not a nice way to be, but it's like, you know, you see it, and it's always about her being smarter than him and her knowing that, no, you do love me, you just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, I guess I
And they
mean
did the same way.
it was also a different time, you know.
Yeah, it was the 50s, man. I
Yeah.
just bear with me here.
Yeah. And like
But
it's so funny sometimes, you know, you can come back and criticize art from a time, but art is simply a reflection of what the audience wants to see at the time, right? So, I mean, you
right.
know, it's also an indictment of all people at that time, not just the people who made the show. There were
Mhm.
people whose desire to see stuff like that got that show made. So,
Well, you know, it's like I always say, you know, Jack Kirby, one of the great comic book artists, when he came to drawing black people, he drew really offensive black people, even when they were protagonists. So, not in Black Panther, but when he did his work in the 40s, you know,
mm.
didn't even think twice because that was his job and that's what you did. And it is
Situations
an
like that. I mean,
unfortunate.
at some point, you got to let things go. You got to forgive people, and you got to be willing to say, We're moving on, right? We're
Yeah,
thank God we're
exactly.
better now."
We gotta move on, and that is one of the hardest things for people to accept in HR. Is that sometimes I know what you're saying. I know why it's wrong. Don't think I don't know what's wrong. But now we have to move on. And if it happens again, we can be harsher on it. But right now, we have established our bulkhead, and now we move on from here and make sure that things don't go wrong again. And if they go wrong again, then maybe we start firing people. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to just fire people because no one told them no before, you know, or that no one told them no harshly before. Which is really, you know, that's always the biggest problem with any kind of discipline in any society is there will be people who will say, I'm going to tell you no, but, you know, I don't really mean no. You know, just be nicer for a little while. Let's just, you know, let's stop the bleeding and we're not going to worry about it. But really it's about let's really push this through and get beyond it and do better. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Velma. Like I said, I am enamored of the characters. I've always liked the Scooby Gang as a concept. But then again, like I said, I actually like The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. So maybe that's why, because it was baked into me. But beyond that, I'm not so bound to the Scooby Gang that I can't see what they're going to do next.
Yeah, I'm kind of like thinking about like how the Shaggy metaphor in this episode, he says, I don't like drugs, right into the camera. So I mean, like you can see where that's going. He's gonna end up being like the Shaggy that we know that's, you know, always a little buzz.
Well, exactly. And that should be your big hint. And that's also one of these weirdest things in this was why did they get rid of Shaggy? And yet they tell you no, exactly. It's like his name is Norville. What is it? Norville.
Yeah, because he's not Shaggy yet. He's all clean cut and
well, yeah, because I'm trying to remember what his last name. I want to say I don't think it's Jones, but maybe it is Norville Jones. But anyway, but it is just the idea that that is actually Shaggy's name. Shaggy's name is Norville. Oh, it's Shaggy Rogers. That's right. It's Norville Rogers.
That's funny.
They got rid of Shaggy. It's like, no, Shaggy's name is Norville Shaggy Rogers. It's like that's canonically what his name is.
Oh, is that right?
Shaggy is his nickname.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess he had to get Shaggy before he could be called Shaggy.
Well, exactly. Well, it's just the idea. Like, no one names their kid Shaggy. You know, he does. Although weirdly enough, he does have relatives whose last name is Shagworthy, I think.
Oh,
but
well, I mean, hey.
I think it's been a long time since I've been into the deep canon of original Scooby Doo, but you do get that his name is Norville Shaggy Rogers on one of the times where he inherited something from a rich uncle, because Shaggy was always inheriting things from his rich uncles, which is one of the tropes of the original Scooby Doo. Is of course these kids were loaded, but yeah, you know,
sounds like they're going to use a lot of what's his name, the rich kid. He's going to be pretty much funding all their adventures.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Fred or
Fred? Yeah.
Yeah. See, now Fred gets a lot of short shrift, but Fred's been getting short shrift in every Scooby-Doo remake since the 2000s.
Yeah, he was always the square narc every time, right?
Yeah, but I mean, originally he wasn't. Originally, he really was a leadership character.
Oh.
And he was kind of, but you know, really, since the James Gunn reboots, they really have dumbed down Fred. Like dumbing down Fred, making Fred into a Ken doll has been the idea. And this one just takes it to its most logical extension, where he's all smooth, you know. And there are people who go on for an hour on the internet about a very vague joke that they make regarding his penis, which is actually in story isn't that it's a small penis, it's that it's cold out, which, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they let you know from the first
scene. Joke stuck in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, no, but they let you know right from the first scene what kind of show it's going to be. Like, you know, as soon as she walks into school, there's two little cockroaches doing it, and they focus it. They go, you see this? Okay, they're just it's going to go from here, right? So, yeah. You know what? I don't know.
My actual deep fan theory is that it's actually going to be everything's a Botsman brain. That they're all just brains that have been taken out of their bodies and put into like little tanks, and that everything they're experiencing is actually a simulation in the Matrix. So, That's my theory, because every time because that's the big darkness, is that, oh, we keep on having these bodies with the brains taken out, and we also have
Oh, right.
Daphne having these very vivid hallucinations. So to
Hmm.
me, that screams, oh, we're all brains in the Matrix, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. They're dropping apparently 2 episodes a Thursday, and they're okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I will not say that my life would have been incomplete without them, but the hate it's gotten has been crazy. Ah, oh goodness.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about this week?
People just love getting angry. It's an art form right now. Look at how
Yeah,
angry I am. Look at how righteous I am. I'm
yeah.
protecting this. I'm protecting that. Man, just worry about yourself.
I mean, really, you have to. And what I will say for it is it is interesting to me that people have opinions on it. You know, because that's the thing. It's like, so let me give you an example, because there is something I have a very strong opinion on, and that is Mark Millar's Old Man Logan, and
The
which is a
last movie,
comic
the
book
Logan
series.
movie, or the
I'm
comic?
sorry,
Are you talking about the
the
Logan?
comic. So there's a
Oh,
comic book called Old Man Logan
okay.
that Mark Millar did, that's basically set in a universe where the villains won acts of vengeance, and it was controlled
What?
by Doctor Doom. What?
Acts of Vengeance?
Acts of vengeance. So, okay, so basically, there's some deep 90s lore in this, but in Acts of Vengeance, there was this whole thing where all the villains decided the reason they keep on losing is because they're attacking the same heroes over and over. And if they would just attack completely different heroes, those heroes won't be prepared for the attack.
Hmm.
And now maybe we can catch them off guard and win.
Hmm.
It does fail miserably, mostly because it was all Loki all along, just manipulating everybody. Although you do get one of the best scenes in it where at the end of it, Magneto captures the Red Skull and just locks him in a bunker and leaves him there to die.
Huh.
And it is just because, in that moment, Magneto was the survivor of the Holocaust, and he's working with this Nazi expressly because he wants to get close enough to the Nazi to kill him. Sadly, they didn't let him kill him. It would have been great if they had, but the basic premise is that all these villains are switching off heroes, and when you actually read Millar's Old Man Logan, you realize that that's exactly what happened. Like, the reason why Logan is so messed up is because Mysterio attacked the X-Men and convinced Wolverine to basically just kill all the X-Men by
Cool.
making him think through illusions and things like that all of the X-Men fighting him were in fact real villains.
Wow.
So it was pretty dark, it was pretty messed up. But that didn't bother me. What bothered me is the Hulks that wind up ruling, because effectively you had the idea that Banner and Jen Walters, his cousin,
Mm.
kept on having sex to have Hulk children, and then
Oh.
those Hulk children interbred until you basically had a bunch of very inbred Hulks. And either you're suggesting that Banner is attacking She-Hulk or she's complicit with it, but
Oh, Jesus.
either way, it's not a good story,
Wow.
especially when they go into the whole plowing their own fields thing, and it's a messed up story, and
Hmm.
that is why all the other adaptations have skewed very far away from incest Hulks.
Hmm.
Um, but that is one of those moments where, you know what, it really did not do the character right, made me very mad, but I didn't dwell on it beyond just saying I did not like that
Yeah, well, that was
and moved
unsuccessful.
on. I did not like that choice. That
Yeah,
was not because I actually knew the characters were fictional. Um,
right,
and
right.
and that's the thing is when you know the characters are you can say, I don't like the choice you made, so I will choose to ignore it, as every other writer has since, because it's not a there's not a place you can go from there, and at a certain point you got to sort of like, you know what, he tried something, it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can always fix it in post. We can always
Right,
retcon it away
right, right,
and
right,
say,
right.
well, that was actually just sort of what he's tells people to freak him out.
Mm.
But actually, because as many people immediately pointed out, there's like 8 different other gamma empowered women that he could have sex with, as well as other gamma powered beings. So it's not like gamma powered people were hard to find in the
Yeah,
Marvel universe.
but he wanted to keep his Hulk bloodline pure.
Yeah, well, see, that's just weird. Then
Yeah,
it's
I know.
alrighty, Mozzie. So, any final thoughts on any things we talked about, or there's something else that's been bugging you lately that you want to talk about?
No, not really. Everything seems fine to me.
Okay, well, I hope everyone listening to this show has enjoyed it. I hope if you're looking to give us your opinions, maybe you like incest hoax and want to defend that and make it the mountain you die on.
Mm.
If you do want to defend incest hoax, please write to us at capesandlunatics@gmail.com. That's
Oh boy.
capesandlunatics, all one word, at gmail.com. Or call us and give us your voice extolling the virtues of incest hoax at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And even if you don't like incest hoax, maybe go to our show notes down and find the link tree. That's linktr.ee/capes and lunatics, where you can buy our merch, give us money, or find any of our other shows where we don't talk, where we talk slightly less about incest hoax throughout the
Mm.
Capes and Lunatics franchise. And if people do all that, or if they don't want to do any of that and just talk to you specifically, Mozz, maybe to you, how can they
Oh,
do
they
so?
they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old fashioned email way that our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet things when I feel like it at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Mozz.
Yep.
All right, dear ladies and gentlemen, you have come to the end of another episode of Super Connectivity. Please come back again next week and super connect with us once again. Good night.
Mm. That's just so funny. Extol the virgins, you almost said.
Yeah, well, extol the virgins and extol the virtues. The virtuous virgins, the virtuous incest virgins. There you go.
Oh,
So,
man.
have you decided what you want to do for Full Stream Ahead next week?
No, I've not watched any of these shows. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch them. When we have to do it next week, next Thursday.
Next week,
Next Thursday. Okay.
yeah. Let's if you want to try Willow, if you want to try Powerless, if you want to do something totally silly, we can do Powerless.
Hmm.
It's a short one. If you want to do something, I mean, you have the other show that you recommended,
Yeah, it
Counterpart.
takes a while to get going,
Yeah, and
and it's
that's my only
super like
objection to it. Is
granular.
that's my biggest objection is that it's a big show,
Yeah.
and we do have other because we want to get because I'm sure we want to get to Mandalorian when it drops and all
Yes.
these other things. So I don't want to take up too much time, and we can also maybe do like maybe a couple movies here and there that are streaming.
Hmm.
You know, like maybe just pick a couple of things that might be an interesting
Have you ever
thing. We could
seen
do Cuphead.
Interstellar?
What?
Have you ever seen Interstellar?
I've never seen Interstellar.
Oh, you should watch that. I'd be down to talk about that movie for days.
Okay, man. If you, I mean, I am happy. Anything that's streaming, I will talk about. So we can do
Yeah.
movies, we can do TV shows, we can do a few just to fill the gap. I
Yeah.
was looking forward to doing Willow, but if you don't want to do Willow, we don't have to worry about
I
Willow.
still haven't seen it. We could definitely do Willow. Let's just do Willow. Let's just do that.
Let's just do Willow. Okay.
Yeah, let's just do Willow.
I mean, it's up to you, man. Because
Yeah.
like I said, I'm just trying to keep it cool.
Dig
Okay.
it.
So we will do Willow next
Next
week.
Thursday.
Let me know what day.
Thursday
Thursday?
sounds good. Yeah.
Thursday we'll do. Do you want to do one Willow or two?
We'll do one of these and a Willow.
One and a Willow. Okay, sounds great. Okay,
All right.
talk to you then.
Talk to you then. Bye.
Bye.